today we will discuss about cell, but before that we will start with the definition of biology. Dear students, the study of life processes is called biology. Is called biology. And in this we will discuss today about cell. Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Basic structural and functional unit of life. Cell varies in shape and size. Cell varies in its shape and size. It varies from cubical to polygonal, or spherical in shape. Spherical in shape. Cells, when we are talking about cell, so in plant we are talking about Acetabularia. Acetabularia is a single celled plant. Is a single cell plant. And it is the longest cell in plant. So Acetabularia is the single cell in plant and it is the longest cell. When we are talking about animal cell, then in animal cell, the nerve cell is the longest cell. The nerve cell is the longest cell, and nerve cell of an elephant is 3.5 meter long. Whereas nerve cell of human being is 90 centimeter long. But we are talking about longest cell. When it comes to largest cell in human being, then it is ostrich egg. Ostrich egg is the largest cell in the human being, and it varies up to 250 grams in weight. So dear students, this was what I was talking about, the shape and size of the cell. Now we will discuss about history of the cell, because everything is having its some history. Cell is also having its history, so we are going to talk about that also. Firstly cell was discovered by Anton von Leeuwenhoek. It was observed by Anton von Leeuwenhoek, father of bacteriology. So discovery of cell. Discovery of cell by Anton von Leeuwenhoek. Okay. Anton von Leeuwenhoek was the father of bacteriology, but for the first time the term was coined by Robert Hooke. Coined by Robert Hooke in 1665. He observed cork of a plant. He observed cork of a plant and he found so many compartments in that cork. and those compartment he called cell. Basic meaning of cell is also compartment. Meaning compartment. So cell is meaning compartment. It was first coined by Robert Hooke in 1665. Honeycomb-like structure he found in cork cell. Cork. And after this, Robert Hooke, cell theory came into existence in 1839. In 1839, cell theory came in existence. Came in existence. Cell theory was given by Schleiden, a botanist. Schleiden, a botanist, and Swan, a zoologist. And Swan, a zoologist. The main postulates of cell theory are: first, all living beings are made up of cells. All living beings are made up of cells. This is the first point in cell theory. Second point, cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life, which is the definition of the cell also. Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Third point was given by Rudolf Virchow. Rudolf Virchow said that omni cellula e celluli. Rudolf Virchow said omnis cellula e celluli, which means each cell arises from pre-existing cell. Each cell arises from pre-existing cell. So these are the main postulates of cell theory. Then after cell theory, some exceptions are there in cell theory. First, viruses were not given any place in cell theory. And by that time, they know that viruses are non-living beings. But today we know that viruses are linked between living and non-living segment. And not only this, students, see, I have told you each cell arises from pre-existing cell, but the first cell was not arise from any pre-existing cell. It arose due to chemical reactions, you can say. Due to chemical reactions, first cell came into existence. So this was the exception to cell theory. Now, see, there are two types of cells, and classification of cell can be in two different ways, which we are going to see now. Like this, if we will see here, cell is here. The cell. It is divided into two categories. One on the basis of nutrition. Other on the basis of nucleus. On the basis of nutrition, cell is divided into two categories. One is plant cell, other is animal cell, which we can say that it is autotroph. Autotroph are those organisms which can make their own food by themselves, whereas animal cell is always heterotroph, means animal cannot prepare its food but it depends on autotroph for its food. So this is the first category. Second category, on the basis of nucleus. In this also two categories are there. One is prokaryotic cell, second is eukaryotic cell. See, prokaryotic cells are those organisms whose nucleus is not well defined. Means nuclear membrane is not present and nucleus is not organized. Whereas when we come to eukaryotic cells, these are those cells which have a well defined nucleus. Means nuclear membrane is present around its nucleus. So this was the how we can classify cell in two categories. Now we will see one by one about the parts, components of the cell. See dear students, when we talk about plant cell, then in plant cell wall is there. So firstly we will see what is cell wall. When we are talking about plant cell, then apart from membrane, plasma membrane, there is one more structure that is called cell wall. Cell wall. This cell wall in plant is made up of cellulose. So this cell wall is made up of cellulose and it is permeable membrane. Permeable in nature, you can say. When we are talking about plant cell, then this cell wall is made of cellulose. Made of cellulose. This cell wall, what it gives? It gives rigidity to the cell. It gives rigidity to the cell, and not only this, it also gives shape to the cell. Gives shape to the cell. So this is cell wall which we are talking about, made up of cellulose, and it gives rigidity to the cell and shape to the cell. And see, when we are talking about bacterial cell wall, bacteria is also having cell wall. Then what happens? Their cell wall is made up of murine and peptidoglycan. This was about bacterial cell I have talked about. Now cell wall is over, its function is over. Now we will discuss about second topic, that is cell membrane. Cell membrane. This is our second topic in cell. See dear students, when we are talking about cell membrane, then in animal cell it is the outermost layer. But in plant cell, it is the second outermost layer after cell wall. Now again cell membrane is also having its composition. It is made up of phospholipid bilayer. Phospholipid bilayer means there are two layers of the phospholipid, and In this bilayer, protein is also embedded. Protein channel, protein is embedded. Protein is embedded. So in this phospholipid bilayer, protein is embedded, and there are two categories of protein which is embedded. One is extrinsic protein. Other is intrinsic protein. Intrinsic protein. Extrinsic protein means that protein which has made channel and it is coming outward side, both sides of the cell membrane. Whereas intrinsic protein is in between the phospholipid bilayer. So this is the main difference between extrinsic and intrinsic protein. So cell wall, cell membrane is clear to everybody. Again, what is the function of cell membrane? First, it is selectively permeable membrane. Selectively permeable membrane. Because why it is called selectively permeable membrane? Because it selects the material before going inside the cell or outside the cell. What the cell membrane will allow, only that material will go inside the cell or outside the cell. That is why it is called selectively permeable membrane. It also gives, this is the first point. Second point, it also gives shape to the cell. It also gives shape to the cell. So this was what we were talking about cell membrane in brief, and it is up to the point. So you should note down or you should memorize this. Third point. When we are talking about third point, then comes your nucleus. In nucleus what happens? Nucleus is known as brain of the cell. What is nucleus? It is brain of the cell. This nucleus is actually control center. Control center of all metabolic activities. Metabolic reactions, you can say activities taking place inside the cell. Taking place inside the cell. Now this nucleus is organized, you can say, with cell membrane, nuclear membrane, and it is present in eukaryotic cell in organized form. Whereas when we are talking about prokaryotic cell, then this membrane is not organized, nuclear membrane is not present. So what is this nucleus? Nucleus is control center of all reactions, and it contains chromosomes also. It contains chromosomes, which are the units of heredity. It contains chromosomes. These chromosomes are carrier of heredity, you can say. In nucleus what happens? Nucleolus is there. Not only nucleolus, the fluid which is present is called nucleoplasm. Nucleolus is present, nucleoplasm is present. What these two? It is a fluid, you can say nuclear fluid, which is called nucleoplasm, and in this nucleoplasm chromosomes are embedded. Chromosomes are embedded. Are embedded. When we talk about nucleolus, this nucleolus is present, and this nucleolus contains RNA and ribosomes. So nucleolus contains RNA and ribosomes. Two things. RNA and ribosomes. So this we are talking about nucleus. Nucleolus is there, nucleoplasm is there, and nucleolus is containing both RNA and ribosomes. These ribosomes are factories for protein synthesis or site for protein synthesis. Here we will discuss something else. Nucleus is now about to over. After nucleus we will talk about protoplasm. See, protoplasm, what is this term? Actually, this protoplasm contains two types of fluid material inside the cell. First is cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is that fluid which is present between nucleus and nuclear membrane. Other is nucleoplasm. It is that fluid which is present inside the cell. So in this way, protoplasm contains two things. One is cytoplasm, other is nucleoplasm. When these two combine, they give protoplasm. According to Huxley told us that protoplasm is the physical basis of life. Protoplasm is the physical basis of life. Basis of life. This was the definition given by Huxley about protoplasm. Now protoplasm is over. Second is protoplasm. See, protoplasm contains three things, whereas protoplasm was containing only two categories, two things. Here we are having three things. 1, 2, 3. First is cell membrane. Other is cytoplasm. Last one is nucleoplasm. This was about protoplasm. Three things are there. Then comes cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is that fluid which is present between cell membrane and nucleus. I have told you earlier also. And all the other organelles are embedded in that cytoplasm. All the other organs are embedded in that cytoplasm. What is the cytoplasm? It is the fluid in which other organelles are embedded. Other organelles are embedded. Now we will talk one by one about all these organelles. Before that, I will say one thing more, that there are so many reactions which are occurring inside a cell, and their site is cytoplasm. Site of so many chemical reactions inside the cell. Chemical reaction is cytoplasm. So in this way, cytoplasm is over. Now we will discuss about organelles one by one. First we will discuss about endoplasmic reticulum. See, dear students, there are two types of endoplasmic reticulum found in the cell. One is rough endoplasmic reticulum, other is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So we are talking about endoplasmic reticulum, that is ER. There are two categories of ER. One is rough endoplasmic reticulum, RER. Other is smooth endoplasmic reticulum, SER. The endoplasmic reticulum, what it maintains the shape of the cell first. And two categories are there. So what we can say? It maintains shape of the cell. These channels are present and they maintain shape of the cell. When we are talking about endoplasmic reticulum, rough endoplasmic reticulum is attached to nucleus, you can say. Attached to nucleus. Now what happens when it is attached to nucleus? It also contains ribosomes. You can say contains ribosomes. Ribosomes. So because of these ribosomes only its surface become rough. That is why it is known as rough endoplasmic reticulum. And it is the site for protein synthesis. Site for protein synthesis. So this was about rough endoplasmic and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which maintains shape of the cell, and they contain ribosome, that is the site for protein synthesis. This is the first organelle inside a cell. So you can write here first point. This is the first organelle. Then second we will discuss about plastids. Endoplasmic reticulum is over. Now we are going to discuss about plastids. See, there are three types of plastids present in a plant cell. Plastid, you should note down also, plastids are present only in plant cell, not in animal cell. So when we are talking about plastids, they are found in plant cell. They are second organelle, you can say. We are going to discuss. Three type of plastids are there in a plant cell. One is chloroplast, second is chromoplast, third is leucoplast. We will talk them one by one. First is chloroplast. It contains pigment chlorophyll. What it contains? It contains pigment chlorophyll. This pigment chlorophyll is responsible for photosynthesis. That is why plant is making its own food, and that process is called photosynthesis. So this chlorophyll pigment is necessary for making food by the plant, and the process is called photosynthesis. Not only this, green color is given by this pigment because it contains magnesium in it. Green color of the pigment is due to magnesium. Magnesium is present in the ring. Chloroplast is over. Then comes your chromoplast. See, chromoplast, they are known as colored plastid. They are known as colored plastid because they give color to the fruits and flowers, and those colors are yellow, orange, or red color. So chromoplasts are giving color to the fruit and flowers, and they are generally yellow, orange, or red in color. Lastly, leucoplast. Leucoplast is not giving any color. It stores food in the form of starch. It stores food in the form of starch. So plastid is over now. We will discuss third point, ribosomes. See, I have told you ribosomes are present on rough endoplasmic reticulum surface. Again, we are going to discuss this organelle, ribosomes. See, ribosomes are present inside the nucleus or on the surface of endoplasmic reticulum. So what we are seeing, ribosomes are present on the surface of endoplasmic reticulum or in the nucleus. Function is protein synthesis. They synthesize protein. They are the site for protein synthesis, where protein synthesis takes place, we can say. Ribosome is of two types. One is 70S other is 80s. See, in 70s what happened? They are 50-30. They are broken into categories 50 plus 30 years. Whereas in 80 years we are having 60 plus 40 years. This 70 years is present in prokaryotic cell. Where it is present? Prokaryotic cell. ठीक है? And here these are present in eukaryotic cell. So what we are seeing, ribosomes, they are the site for protein synthesis. Protein synthesis takes place, and these two type of ribosomes, one is present in prokaryotic cell, other is present in eukaryotic cell. In this way ribosome is also over. Now we will talk about mitochondria. See dear students, mitochondria is also known as powerhouse of the cell because a large amount of energy is made in mitochondria. That is why it is called as powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria. We will discuss structure of mitochondria also today. Firstly, we will discuss what is this mitochondria. I told you powerhouse of cell. Cell powerhouse because it synthesize ATP. It is the phosphate bond. Adenosine triphosphate, it is known as adenosine triphosphate bond. It has a large amount of energy in it. That is why mitochondria is known as powerhouse of the cell, and ATP is generated in mitochondria. So energy currency of the cell is also name given to powerhouse of the cell. Energy currency of cell. This is the other name given to mitochondria. Powerhouse of the cell or energy currency of cell. Now we will discuss the structure of mitochondria here. See, mitochondria, I am telling again and again because it is an important organelle, and mitochondria is less in number in plant cell, whereas more in number in animal cell. Its structure is like this. This is the outer membrane. This is the outer membrane. Here is the inner membrane, which is having finger-like projection in it, like this. So in this way mitochondria is made. See, so what we will do? This is the outer membrane. We will mark it, na? This is outer membrane. This one is inner membrane. Inner membrane. And in between outer membrane and inner membrane is intermembrane space. Intermembrane space. Space between both the membranes. These foldings, finger-like projections, are called cristae. They are called cristae. Not only this, the inner part of mitochondria is called matrix. So here this inner part is called matrix. This is the diagram of mitochondria, which is clear to everybody. And here in between intermembrane space, you can say ATP is synthesized and it gives energy to the cell. Mitochondria is over. Now we will talk about lysosomes, other organelle of the cell, which is called lysosomes. See dear students, lysosomes and centrosomes are the found in animal cell only. They are not found in plant cells. So first we will talk about lysosomes. Lysosomes. What I told you, lysosomes are found in only animal cells. They are known as suicidal bags. They are known as suicidal bags. Why? See, these lysosomes are present in animal cell. They kill microbes and also digest nutrition. Two things they do. One, they kill microbe, and second, they help in digestion of nutrients. Digestion of nutrients. Two things are there. So in this way, what we are seeing, lysosomes which are known as suicidal bags. Why they are known as suicidal bags? Because when they become old, then they are not of any use. So in that case, what happens? Lysosome engulf their own lysosome and kill them. That is why they are known as suicidal bags. Okay? So in this way, this is also clear to you. Next is Golgi complex or Golgi bodies. Other organelle is Golgi bodies. What is Golgi body? Golgi body is next. See, this Golgi body is found in both plant and animal cells. But when we are talking about plant cells, then its name is dictyosomes. Dictyosomes. And in plant cells, this dictyosome help in formation of cell wall. What it helps? It helps in the formation of cell wall. Whereas when it comes to animal cell, then in animal cell, it do not contribute to formation of cell wall or anything, but it helps in packaging material and making it ready for the use of cell. This is the Golgi body, and its structure is also like this. You see, like this structure is here. Again, you can see here also. So in this way, Golgi bodies are made, and their structure is something like this. Okay. So its structure is something like this. This phase is called cis phase. The cis phase, and this side is known as trans phase. Sorry, here spelling mistake is there. Cis phase, trans phase, and the space in between the membrane is called lumen. And these stacks are known as cisternae. These stacks are known as cisternae. Okay. So in this way, lumen is there, cisternae is there, cis phase is there, trans phase is there. Not only this, here vesicles are present. Vesicles are also present. Vesicles are there. The vesicles which is present on the cis phase side, they are called transport vesicles. Here the vesicles are called transport vesicles. And towards the trans phase, other vesicle is located, that is known as secretory vesicle. Lans phase. In this way Golgi complex is there and it helps in packaging of material. I have told you Golgi complex is over. Now dictyosome is clear to you. Now we are going to talk about centrosome. Centrosome, like lysosome, centrosome is also present in animal cell only, not present in plant cell. Centrosome is present in animal cell. So centrosome is present in animal cell. Its shape is like star shape. Star shaped. And what this centrosome do? It helps in cell division. At the time of cell division, it helps in cell division. Helps in cell division, centrosome. And how they help in cell division? By producing astral rays. Producing astral rays. Astral rays, which are made up of microtubules. These astral rays are made up of microtubules. So centrosome is clear to everybody. Now we are going to discuss about two non-living components of cytoplasm. Two non-living components of cytoplasm. First non-living component is vacuole and other is cell inclusions. Firstly we will discuss about vacuoles. See this vacuole, large central vacuole is present in plant cell. Large central vacuole in plant cell. Okay? And in animal cell, vacuole is not present or present in very small numbers and very small size. But in plant, it is a large central vacuole, and this vacuole helps plant cell to digest nutrient. Okay, so this vacuole, it is large central vacuole in plant cell and it helps in digesting nutrients. It is having cell. If we are talking about structure of vacuole, then it is like this. The outer layer is called tonoplast. Tonoplast. The fluid which is present inside this is cell sap. So this is the structure of vacuole. Tonoplast is there, cell sap is there. Vacuole is large central vacuole in plant cell. It helps in the digestion of the nutrient. And second point, maintains osmotic pressure in the cell, plant cell. Osmotic pressure in plant cell. So it maintains osmotic pressure in plant cell. Third, shape of the cell. Shape of cell. Three things are there which we are talking about vacuoles. So vacuole is over, then comes cell inclusions. Other non-living component is cell inclusion. Cell inclusion means resins, tannins and starch which is present inside the cell. They are known as cell inclusion and they also give energy to the cell. Like starch molecule is there, oil molecule is there, resin is there, tannin is there. They all come under cell inclusions and they are present inside the cell to give energy to the cell. Here the picture is clear to everybody about the cell and its components or organelles. Over, Then comes type of cell on the basis of nutrition. On the basis of nutrition, type of the cell we are going to discuss.